I had to walk away for a second because your energy wasn't just heavy, it was invading parts of me I didn't know were still vulnerable. I stepped back, not because I didn't want you, but because standing too close felt like standing inside a storm I wasn't ready to survive. Your presence started doing things to my heartbeat that no explanation could fix. So I chose distance before I lost control. I didn't leave the room. I left my own limits behind when your energy wrapped around me like a warning I ignored too long. I needed air, not space from you, but space from what you awaken in me when you're too close. The way you look at me carries weight, and I had to turn away before it crushed the composure I pretended to have. I walked away because staying meant admitting how deeply your energy was rewriting my balance. Your silence speaks louder than noise, and it was starting to echo in places I keep guarded for survival. I left for a moment because your presence felt like a mirror, and I wasn't ready to face what it reflected. Being near you feels like standing too close to a fire, beautiful, dangerous, and impossible to ignore. I stepped back because your energy doesn't ask for permission. It takes residence. I didn't run from you. I retreated from the intensity of what you stir without even trying. The room changed when you entered, and I needed a second to remember how to breathe normally again. I walked away because my emotions were getting louder than my thoughts. And that's when mistakes happen. Your energy doesn't flirt, it confronts, and I wasn't prepared for that honesty. I had to pause because standing near you felt like standing at the edge of a decision I wasn't ready to make. You don't touch me, yet everything in me reacts as if you already have. I left the moment because your presence was beginning to feel personal in ways I couldn't explain safely. Your energy isn't chaos, it's clarity, and that's far more dangerous. I walked away before your intensity exposed how much I was pretending not to care. Being close to you feels like losing the ability to lie to myself, and I needed distance to recover. I stepped back because your energy doesn't stay on the surface, it dives deep. You don't overwhelm me by force, you do it by existing exactly as you are. I needed a moment alone because your presence was rearranging priorities I swore were fixed. Your energy presses against my calm until it cracks, and I didn't want you to see that fracture. I walked away because if I stayed any longer, my restraint would have betrayed me. There's something about you that bypasses logic and goes straight for instinct. I stepped aside because your intensity was pulling truths out of me I wasn't ready to speak. Your presence feels like a question I can't answer without consequences. I had to leave because your energy was becoming louder than my self control. Standing near you feels like standing inside a confession that hasn't been spoken yet. I walked away before the moment turned into something neither of us could undo. Your energy doesn't chase, it waits, and that patience is terrifying. I needed distance because your presence was waking parts of me I thought were buried for good reason. I stepped back because your intensity feels intentional, even when you say nothing. You don't overwhelm the room, you claim it, and I wasn't ready to be claimed by association. I left for a second because your energy was turning awareness into desire. Being close to you feels like standing too near a truth I've been avoiding. I walked away because your presence makes pretending feel impossible. Your energy doesn't shout, it lingers, and that's what makes it unbearable. I needed a pause because your intensity was starting to feel intimate without consent. I stepped aside because your gaze felt like it knew something about me I hadn't admitted yet. You don't demand attention, but everything in me gives it anyway. I walked away because your energy was beginning to feel like a turning point. Being near you feels like crossing a line that can't be uncrossed. I needed space because your presence was stripping away my rehearsed indifference. Your energy feels deliberate, like you know exactly what effect you have. I stepped back because staying meant acknowledging how deeply you affect me. I walked away before your intensity rewired something permanent inside me. You don't overwhelm me, you unravel me, and that's far more dangerous. I needed a second because your presence was starting to feel like fate misbehaving. Your energy doesn't knock, it enters, and I wasn't ready to host it. I stepped aside because your intensity was turning curiosity into temptation. Being close to you feels like standing inside an unspoken agreement. I walked away because your presence was demanding honesty I hadn't prepared.